Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we kind of have an interesting one for you. We're going to be using the flank rope with Ace here to help him get more comfortable with steady pressure and not feel so claustrophobic when we saddle him up. Hope you guys enjoy this video. So the reason I am going to use the flank rope with him is he tends to get claustrophobic, kind of can pull back into pressure. We have another video of us ponying him, getting him to follow a feel. And so instead of just saddling him up, those of you that have been watching my channel for a while, you know that I'm big on using other things to prepare a horse for something that is your maneuver. So in this case, saddling him is our maneuver. We haven't saddled him yet, but I want to prepare him for that. I want to release him to being saddled. So by doing the flank rope, it's going to be a little more uncomfortable because it's further back on him. It's not going to be quite where the cinches go. And so I think he's less likely to buck once we saddle him, and I think he'll accept the saddle a lot quicker. So it's a little bit of a preventative step in the process here. So I have a nice soft rope, and it has a ring on it. And the interesting thing about this is I'm trying to teach him to not buck. And so what I'm going to do is put a little feel on it, not pulling on it hard, just a little feel. And if he reacts and gets a little right-brained, thinks about bucking, the pressure's going to stay there. When he relaxes and settles, the pressure is going to go away. So it's important that I have the ring on the bottom so it kind of pulls it down to release it right away. There we go. Now to start this, I'm going to put the rope around where the girth would be. And this is a step that I would do with every colt that I start. Okay. I wouldn't really recommend using a lariat rope for what I'm about to do because there would be a little bit of a risk there of them getting rope burn. And you really just wouldn't want to, put any rope burn on a horse or something. That would not be cool. So I'm just going to let him wear that a little bit. Now I'm just going to pull on that a little bit. Let that get tight. And now when it's where the girth is, I am going to pull on it pretty hard. You can see I'm kind of leaning back into it. I don't want the answer to be stop though. When you're starting a colt for the first time, you want them to understand forward. So I don't want this pressure to mean stop. So when he kind of is comfortable with that, then I'll go ahead and release it. Now I've already done this step with him one other time. So he's handling this really well. But I was thinking to myself, you know what? I think he would still buck pretty hard if I saddled him up. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little more preparation. So now we're going to move this rope back to a little bit more difficult position back here by his belly. So if you've had horses for a while, you know that horses are a little more sensitive around their flank area. And by sensitive, I mean protective. They're more protective of this area. They're more likely to get defensive. There are certain places on a horse that in the wild, or kind of what's natural to them, they're naturally going to want to be protective of these things. So the flank area is one of them. That's kind of where, if a lion was going to attack them, that's kind of where they would go. So they're just innately more protective. So now I'm going to put a little feel on it. Well, that just went really well. Again, I don't want him to stop. If he was bucking really hard and then he finally stopped, I might release there, but I really want him to release with it moving forward. That was good. So now we're going to move him into a trot, put a feel on it. Again, I'm not pulling it hard. And again, pretty much any horse is going to buck if you put the flank rope on him. So don't be surprised if that's what they do. He actually is doing very well with that, better than I was expecting, which I think is good news because it shows that the preparation that we've been doing to help him get more comfortable with steady pressure and feel less claustrophobic is working. It's my belief that horses are innately way more fearful of steady pressure, which is what we use when we're riding them, when we're tying them up, when we're saddling them, the cinches. Steady pressure is something that we use all the time with horses. And I think it's innately the most scary thing to them, more scary than like shushing them around, like flagging them around and just getting them running around. I don't think that driving pressure, that rhythmic pressure, is as scary to them at like a core level. So again, we're going to get him going again. Put a feel. Wow, I'm really impressed with how well he's handling this. So this is great news. To me, this tells me, again, he's getting more tame. He's getting more gentle. He's not going to those pre-animal reactions. To be completely honest, I fully expected him to buck a lot in this video. I'm really happy that he's not. But that's also why we wanted to get it on camera, because I thought it was going to be a little more exciting than this. And I thought it would be more valuable. So because it's not as exciting, that tells me that we're not going to gain a lot from doing this, but it also tells me that we've been preparing him really well. And a couple things that he had a lot of trouble with that you've seen in other videos was getting him more comfortable with us handling his feet, and him getting him better at following a feel off the halter. So the interesting thing about this is all those things live in the same box in his brain, so to speak. So those reactions to pulling a foot away, to pulling back into the halter, they all come from him wanting to push into pressure and acting like a prey animal. Those come from the same area. So even though they're a different thing to us, to him, he feels the same way about all those. And because we've done a good job of getting him used to those, that's why this flank rope went so well. That's what I think anyway. So, you know, all these things that we think and believe about horses is estimated guesses. You know, they're good guesses where we're guessing them based off of all the experience in doing this. But I feel pretty strongly that everything that I said is true about that, and that he's feeling more comfortable with it. So really happy with how that went. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'll see you on the next one.